welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, ET Now's special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. Here's what we have lined up on the show for you today. On our Insights segment, I have a conversation with Pramod Bhasin, the founder of Genpact, India's first and oldest BPO. And on Bright Sparks tonight, we feature Nazrana Chicken and MobiKwik. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. Let's get started with our Inside conversation. He's the big daddy of the BPO world and has helped put India on the global map as far as IT-enabled services go. I caught up with Pramod Bhasin, the founder of Genpact. He's now the president of Indus Entrepreneurs, or TiE, the world's largest network of entrepreneurs. I asked him on growth strategies, hiring strategies, and what it takes for a company to be a standout in its space. Take a listen. Pramod, thanks so much for speaking with us today. You've held a plethora of roles. You've served as the chairman of NASSCOM in 2009-10. You're the founder of Genpact. You're now an investor. And of course, you're also the president of TiE in Delhi. Which of these have been the most exciting for you?
Actually, the most exciting clearly has been building Genpact as a beginning of an idea I had into what is now a $2.5 billion company, operating in 26 countries. I stepped down from it in 2011, but we started it in 1996 as an idea, and it grew explosively. It's created an entire industry. I must say though that before that also, I had come here from the US in '94 to set up GE Capital in India. And that was also a complete startup, brand new. We had to build it brick by brick. So those two were very interesting eras of our lives, and a very interesting time to be in India at that time.
What advice then would you give MSMEs and entrepreneurs, Pramod, given your own entrepreneurial experience?
Well, actually, one of the advice I would give them is not to listen to too much advice. I think, the world is full of advice. Lots are written about it. I think it's incredibly confusing to entrepreneurs to figure out what do you do, how do you build teams, how do you go to market, etc. So one, I would listen to yourself more than I would listen to advice. I remember when I first thought of the idea of Genpact, I tested that on 10 people, very illustrious people in Indian business, and said, will something like this work? And all of them said, no, it won't. Which is precisely why I went ahead and did it, because I was so convinced that it would. And I thought it would be great if we can challenge the status quo. So one, I think you've got to be absolutely convinced about what you want to do. And you must know in your heart that it is a great idea and you love, and you will do it with conviction and passion. Certainly, stop looking at valuations. The current frenzy around the world, by the way, not just in India, around valuations is a disease. That's not what companies are built for or upon, and they're fictional. Any of these people try and sell out of their companies at these valuations today, and the value will drop by 75%. But focus on the fundamentals.
That's definitely very interesting advice, Pramod. I want to talk about the ITS BPO space. There's been quite a bit of consolidation as far as the BPO space is concerned. In your opinion, is this really going to be the way forward?
Yes, it will be. I think there will be increasing consolidation and increasing specialization as well. Commoditized BPO labor arbitrage is done and dusted, and was done and dusted many years ago. And it should be. Today, you have to have a combination of digitization, of lean, of great processes, etc. And you have to build that into your product offering. You also have to be real subject matter experts. If you're going to serve the banking industry, you have to build up enormous domain expertise, which allows you to understand what the banking industry is going through at a very deep level. Because ultimately, our industry has to be the one of expertise. We have to offer expertise to our clients, not just as order takers, not just do what we're told to do, but really innovate and come out with ideas on how they can improve their own productivity.
I remember there was a wave about 5 to 6 years ago, Pramod, when BPOs were actively looking at tier 2 and tier 3 towns when tapping, into whether it's the people pool, cheaper rentals. How has that really caught on, and what advice again would you have or a trend that you think will stay going forward when it comes to MSMEs?
I think as far as small to medium scale industry is concerned, it's burgeoning in these towns. Certainly when I go through traveling through the country, I'm always amazed at the changes that are happening across the country. New car dealerships opening, new schools, new colleges, new educational systems, and it shows you the vibrancy that is there. The tragedy, of course, as we know, is that infrastructure just hasn't kept up anywhere. So waste disposal, municipal rules, building regulations, overbuilding is rampant. And that destroys our cities. It destroys some of the great cities, some of the great hill stations where people could go, some of the great historic locations you could go to, which would be huge attractions for the rest of the world. I think we've got to wrestle that down. The cost differential, by the way, between a tier 1 city and a tier 3 city for anyone, a BPO IT company or a manufacturing company, is nearly 30%. It's a very high. You get better retention of people, you get more people easily, you have more stability, your costs are lower. You get a lot more attention from the state government, which recognizes you as a major player in that area. So it's a very attractive proposition. There are just a few elements that have stopped it from developing as well as it could.
All right, so how does one really survive the first year of being an entrepreneur? What advice would you have?
Hang on to equity. It matters. Don't dilute it easily. Don't give it away easily. Try everything you can. Try convertible debt instruments. Try debt. Try borrowing assets. Try leasing computers. Don't spend money. Don't give up equity. It's very hard to get it back, and it's very expensive.
Let's talk about talent availability. I know it's specific as far as the IT industry goes, but a lot of the queries again from the MSME viewers of the show ask us about how to, one, hire the right people, and second, how do you really go about retaining these people, and how much of that cost should an MSME really factor in as far as people skills is concerned?
Hiring is the most important and the most difficult thing that people do in any company. Failure rate of people you are hiring in big companies or small companies is extremely high. So absolutely getting that right and spending an inordinate amount of time on that yourself is very important. So you've got to look for cultural fit. Is that person as convinced about your idea as you are? Do they love it as much? Will they have the passion and the conviction when everything is deep, not looking good, you're not succeeding? Will they have the passion and the conviction to stay with you, or will they jump ship? You have to give them some equity. They must feel like owners. Don't have to give them a lot, but you have to give them enough to make them feel that they are part owners of the company, because otherwise, why should they be there and why should they suffer the insecurity of failure without knowing that they will get the benefits of success? So I think having that participation and ownership becomes extremely important. Do reference checks on people. Ask deep, detailed questions. Spend hours with them. I was just reading, Steve Jobs' biography, and you should see the amount of time he spent taking walks with even designers of his building, the key people he hired. He would talk to them multiple times just to know, are they the right people for me? Can I work with them? We tend to, a lot of us, do a couple of interviews and say we're ready. Well, you can't do that. You have to work very closely with people in a small scale industry, medium scale industry, MSME sector. You have to multitask. You have to do everything together. There are no very strong lines of boundaries of definition. So you have to be all-rounders. You have to be general managers. You have to pitch in and do whatever it takes. And to assess that takes a lot longer than we typically spend in terms of time of meeting and interviewing people. Hire people who share your passion. Without that, you won't be. Network like crazy. Go to conferences, meet people, talk to people, find people you like, find people you think you can trust, find people who are empathetic, find people who are interested. Use every means, formal, informal, to get there, because this is one of the hardest things you ever do.
All right, Pravan, thanks very much for speaking with us. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we feature two companies, Nazrana Chicken as well as MobiKwik. To stay tuned.